Welcome to this video everybody, and I'm going to talk through some things that I've been doing recently to try and lower my electricity bills. And I've been doing this because I don't have gas where I live, it's all electric, and I realised that using electricity compared to gas is 3 times more expensive to heat your home. So anything I could do to lower those costs is money into my back pocket, which hopefully you want to do as well. What I've tried to do is, and what I've done is gone for the low-hanging fruit, so things that are free or easy to invest in, that are quick, easy and cheap, and I don't have any particular skill set, so I've been able to do 4 out of the 5 focus areas that are coming up. So if I can do it with no skill set, you can certainly do it as well, and as I say, not cost a great deal to invest in. The final point, which we'll go through shortly, did cost a little bit more, and I couldn't do it myself, but in my particular scenario it was worth doing, and I'll explain why, and it might be the same for yourself. So let's jump into number 1 and find out how we can save some money. Okay, area number 1 is lighting, and this is definitely the easiest, quickest and cheapest area to save on your electricity bills. And to bring it to life, I've just bought 2 bulbs to compare quite quickly. 50 watt downlight, often found in your kitchen, sometimes bathroom, sometimes living room, puts out about 350 lumens. The equivalent LED is this one here. This is a 400 lumen 5 watt bulb, so pretty similar, or as close as I could get in my house. This one cost about 2 quid, 3 quid. This one cost about 5, 6, 7, something like that. So these are the comparisons. But I just wanted to flag the saving on electricity use per year. So if you take an arbitrary number, so if we said we're spending 15 pence per kilowatt hour, which is a pretty normal bill, and had these on for 5 hours a day, every day, I don't know if that's useful as a figure, you'd save about £12 a year between these two. So this one would cost about £13.70 to run, this one will cost about £1.40, about 12 quid saving. So again, maybe not life changing, but £12 in a year, it's paid for itself, and then made some money back. But if I then change 10 of these in my house, I would then make a saving 10 times of a single one. So 12 quid goes to 120, costs about 50 quid for a pack of 10 of these, something like that. But 120 quid a year starts to look a bit better. Times that by 10 years, £1,200 saving, which suddenly sounds ace from a 50 quid investment. That's probably quite optimistic, but even if you half that, that's still £600 saved in a year, which is a no-brainer. And if you wanted to squeeze even more money out of it, you could go smaller again, 2 watt bulb. That one would use half the electricity again, so you suddenly, if you use the optimistic figure, save 2,400 a year. Ho-ho! Probably a little bit optimistic, but you're definitely going to save £1,000 by replacing with either one of these bulbs. So easy peasy, definitely do it. Can change them over. Most of the fittings will accept LED bulbs. Sometimes it doesn't, but most lamps and light fittings will just take LEDs. So get them changed over and make that investment easy. On to point number 2. Just before we move on to point number 2, I wanted to flag 2 things. One is that LEDs are not 50 quid for a pack of 10, and they're about £15–20. So just double check that, so that's even more of a saving. And I also wanted to highlight as well that in my bathroom, in my house, I've put in some rechargeable LEDs that sit on a magnetic strip, and they come on when you walk in, so they're on motion sensors. Don't have to use the light, which sometimes if it's the night time is a bit intense. So there they are, just on the floor down there. So this one's come on because I walked in the room. It's got a motion sensor, and I think they're about 10 quid off eBay, so I'll link them below as well. Sometimes worth having, A, just for convenience, but B, also save you a little bit more as well. On to point number 2, which is draft proofing, and for me this is a low investment, high impact activity, and the way to separate it out with draft proofing is if it's not a window or a door, you probably need expanding foam, can go pretty much everywhere inside, and it's quite fun to use. This example here, I've got a kitchen cupboard, quite drafty, coming in underneath. I noticed there's lots of like cold air coming in underneath, so looked inside, and it's got a vent in the back of the cupboard here, and so I bought a single-use expanding foam canister, cost £10, blasted it all in there, took me about 30 seconds to do that, and it looks a bit messy, but no one's ever going to go in this cupboard, so it doesn't matter. If I was going to do it again, I would buy the expanding foam gun and canisters that go into that. Reason being is that when you use the single-use canisters, they get all gunked up overnight if you don't use it all in one go. So I wasted about 50% of that tin because I didn't really use much of it. So if I did it again, get the canister, get the gun, and then I can use it the next day. And if I find another breezy spot, do the same. So, draft proofing windows and doors is also very easy as well. So, all you need is a strip of insulation material, which comes in rolls like this, and it's pretty cheap. I think this one was doing less than a £5. Looks like this, kind of storm guard protector, super cheap. And all you do is find a drafty bit. So on this example, on the edge of my door here, it's quite drafty running on the edge. I could feel a breeze. And what I did is just clean the inside to it. You have to clean it with white spirits or something so it sticks. Dry it out, make it super dry, and then stick it along the edge where the door is going to make contact with the frame. And you can see an example here. You can see the insulation along the edge of here, all stuck on like that. Job done. Another way to improve your draft proofing is maybe less obvious, but for me, I noticed on the outside of my house that there were a few gaps in some of the mortar in between the bricks, just where it had weathered away, become a little bit thin. And I thought, well, surely if there's a hole there, then A, heat's getting out, and B, water's going to get in. So popped out and got some of this. So it's just some very quick drying cement, dead easy, and you just mix it together with water and put it in the gaps. Sets really quick, super easy. The only thing you're going to need is a ladder to get up to the higher points, but I don't know whether it's made a difference, but it means that there's no more gaps in between the mortar outside. The colour's not perfect, but I think once it weathers a little bit, it will start to match up with the mortar as well. But yeah, that was an easy one. Don't know what that cost me, £12 maybe, something like that. Again, super cheap, and there's loads in that, so I filled loads of holes, and yet that's still 3/4 full, so dead cheap and hopefully effective. All this draft proofing is making me a bit thirsty. I think it's time for a coffee. Alright. Area number 3 is the bedroom, where the magic of sleep happens. And 2 bits just to mention here in the bedroom, and I think they are pretty significant, so I didn't want to skip these. So just the first focus is having 2 duvets on your bed. Makes a massive difference at night time if you don't need to have your heating on, especially if it's electric heating. So having 2 duvets on, never need the heating on, toasty all night. Just 2 normal duvets in here. Who put this here? Who was this? Get out of here. And then the second thing to focus on is slightly more interesting, and that is having an electric blanket, more associated with my parents and grandparents. But I am a big fan, so I just have an electric blanket on underneath the duvet, underneath the sheet. Nothing special about it. £20 for that, pretty cheap. Plugged into the wall, put that on before I go to sleep. Gets pretty toasty. But that's the alternative to having the room heated before I go to sleep. So I've got a 2.5 kilowatt electric wall mounted convection heater just behind the camera, and the costs are pretty significant when you compare them. So the electric blanket is 70 watts, the wall mounted heater is 2,500 watts. It's a comparison, so immediately makes you go, might be a saving here. So just this in quick math, so if I have that heater on the wall 7 hours a week, so an hour as I'm going to bed each week, cost me £2.63. If I had the electric blanket on for the same amount of time, 7 hours a week, 7p is what it's going to cost me to run. What the hell? If we assume that 20 weeks of the year are cold, I'm going to need to have it on, compound that saving, that's £45 a year saving. £20 investment, money back in 1 year, super easy. If we say this electric blanket lasts for 5 years, it may not, I don't know. That's a saving of £225 a year. Whoa, just from having an electric blanket. They're pretty optimistic figures. Maybe if we had 10 cold weeks a year only, I mean, that's still pretty high, right? That's over £100, £112.50 saved a year. So that is worth sharing, and also getting into a warm bed. Nothing quite like it. Woo! All before my time. Point number 4, or area number 4, is about keeping your house dry. And although it's difficult to put a value on that in terms of saving for your electricity bill, it's definitely worth trying to crack that, because it's better for your health and less likely to get black mould and less likely to get damp spots. So it's something I think is quite important. And having electric heating only, it's a bit harder to keep the house warmer all the time. So also, if your house is a bit cooler, condensation tends to occur more frequently as well. So trying to keep things dry is important. And two things I do is I use this Unibond Aero 360, only bought it the other day, 10 quid off Amazon, and that's the moisture. It's collected already in 24 hours. All you do is put a salt tab on the top of it. Once that runs out, you have to buy another one. So there is a cost to keep topping up the tablets, but they're not massively expensive. I think apparently they last a month. We'll see. So that's that one. Not a game changer, but worth having. But the one that is a game changer is this, the Karcher Air window vac. Pretty good. I use this every single day, twice a day. Use it in the bedroom in the morning. Once I open the curtains, flicker it on, get all that moisture off the window. Works really well. That seems to be enough to stop the moisture occurring throughout the rest of the day. I use it every time I shower. Once I've finished in the shower, have the window open when I do shower, but then after I use this on the window, the mirror, the shower screen, use it everywhere, and that means I can shut the window a little bit sooner and takes the moisture out of the air. So yeah, definitely recommend that. I think they're about £40 off, I don't know, Amazon somewhere. I think I got this from Curry's, and yeah, definitely keeps the house dry. Recommend. Favourite thing. So the final point, the final area I wanted to talk about is the replacement of my front door. So I mentioned in the start of the video that there was one area that I couldn't do myself and cost a bit more, and it's this, it's the replacement of the front door. The reason I did this is the previous door was drafty, wasn't insulated, the lock started playing up, and I don't think it was very secure. I feel like if I gave it a karate chop, I could have got through it. So a lot of reasons to replace the door. I got a few quotes. Some of the bigger window double glazing companies quoted me 1,300 quid, but in the end I got it done with a smaller one-man band builder, handyman. He did it for $850, including the door. It's a good quality door, so he managed to do that for $850. Has it been worth it? Definitely. Looks loads better from the inside, outside. It's not drafty, there's no draft coming in from anywhere now. It's insulated, and it's more secure, the lock works. So definitely worth it for me, but whether that works for yourself is probably down to the situation you're in and whether you've got a good front door or not. But worked for me. So that is all 5. Hopefully you agree that they are quick, easy and cheap ways of lowering your electricity bill, and that you feel like you could do all of those ones apart from perhaps fitting a new door. Just to bring it all together, just go through the investment and the savings over a 1-year period. So number 1 was lighting, that was £20 for 10 bulbs. Number 2, draft proofing, that's £25 for the expanding foam, draft seal and cement. Number 3 is a bedroom, duvet, 20 quid, unless your mum's got a spare one. £20 for an electric blanket, unless your granny's got a spare one, which is potentially where I got mine from. Keeping the home, or keeping your house dry, the Aero 360 was a tenner. The Karcher window vac was £30 to £40, that's about 50 quid in total. So without the front door, that brings us to a total of £135 of investment there. And the savings we could expect, and these are quite, I think, moderate, conservative savings. So lighting, if you have 10 LEDs in, number 1, I think you save about £80 a year. Draft proofing, difficult to quantify, but about £20. Bedroom, again, if you stick to not using the heater and just heating your bed, £35 a year. Keeping your house dry, number 4, probably about £10 a year if you avoid some black mould and can shut your windows a bit sooner. That brings us to a total of £145 saving in just 1 year. So you've got an initial 1-year investment of £135 and then £145 savings in that first year. Then every year after, it's just £145 saving, no investment needed. So that'll quickly stack up. Putting the door in the mix does change the maths quite a lot. Again, that was unique to me and it came with a lot of advantages, but if you added the door to it, that's £985 in investment, and we'll probably only realistically add 20 quid a year in draft proof saving. But again, for me, looks loads better, more secure, insulated. It just added so much extra, just more so than electricity savings. So worked for me, might for you, but hopefully adding the maths, adding numbers helps justify taking those actions to save you some coins on your electricity bill. If you think there's better ways of doing it, add some comments below. If you don't understand something and I've not articulated it particularly well, again, add some comments and I'll come back to those. And if you think there's other videos that I could do that would be helpful to save money somewhere, stick it below, and if I've got any knowledge in that area, I'll try and make a video. And finally, if you've taken value from this, consider liking, subscribing. As I say, I'll produce some more videos, and if you subscribe, you'll be able to see those, and it'd be great to go on that journey together and save some money together. See you in the next video.